They haven't forgotten you, and this is what narcissists still think about, even now. Have you ever found yourself wondering what's really going on in the mind of someone who once made you question everything you thought was real? Have you asked yourself, did they just forget me? Did they really move on like none of it ever mattered? If you've had a deep or intense connection with a narcissist, whether it was romantic, family-related, or even work-related, you might be surprised to hear this. They haven't forgotten you. Not even close. Even if it's been months or years since things ended, certain thoughts about you still linger in their mind. But it's not about love. It's not about missing you or feeling sorry. What's happening inside them is much more complicated and a lot more unsettling. So if you're ready to look at the truth that most people don't talk about, what narcissists really think about long after things are over, keep watching. Because this isn't just about understanding them. It's also about helping you make sense of your own experience, recognize the patterns, and take back your power. Knowing how they think can be the key to finally closing that chapter and moving forward with confidence and clarity. Let's begin. There's a common misconception that narcissists are incapable of remembering anyone who doesn't serve their needs. After all, they discard people so easily, so quickly, sometimes without explanation or closure. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Narcissists do remember those who have crossed their path, especially the ones who saw through them, challenged them, or dared to walk away. They may act indifferent, but deep down, they replay every moment, every interaction, every perceived slight like a movie stuck on loop. You see, narcissists live in a constant state of internal conflict between their grandiose self-image and the reality of how others view them. Every person they encounter becomes part of that internal battle. Those who stood up to them, who refused to feed their ego, or who simply moved on without looking back, become psychological thorns in their side. And make no mistake, narcissists don't forgive or forget. They hold grudges longer than most, even if they pretend otherwise. But why? Why do they fixate on people they supposedly discarded? It's not because they miss them. It's not because they care. It's because they need to maintain control, even from a distance. Even when you're no longer physically present in their lives, you exist in their minds as a symbol of something they couldn't fully dominate or destroy, and that eats at them. Now, let's dive deeper into what exactly they're thinking about you even now. What many survivors of narcissistic abuse fail to realize is that the end of the relationship doesn't mark the end of their presence in the narcissist's mind. In fact, the opposite is true. Once you've exited their life, especially if you did so on your own terms, you become a sort of ghost, a haunting reminder of their failure to completely control you. And trust me, narcissists hate ghosts. They despise anything that challenges their narrative of power, perfection, and invincibility. So what are the top things narcissists still think about, even years later? First, they obsess over how much power they had over you, and how much they lost. Narcissists thrive on control. The moment you start asserting your independence, setting boundaries, or walking away, you threaten their entire identity. That loss of control leaves a wound that never quite heals. And so they replay moments where they manipulated you, where they got what they wanted, where they broke you down just enough to feel superior. But they also remember the moments you resisted, the times you said no, the times you saw through their games. Those memories linger like an itch they can't scratch. Second, they dwell on how you viewed them. Narcissists crave admiration, but they also fear judgment. Deep down, they know that not everyone sees them the way they want to be seen. And if you were one of the few who truly understood their tactics, who called them out, questioned their behavior, or refused to play along, they haven't forgotten that either. They may tell themselves stories about how you were jealous, insecure, or emotionally unstable, but the truth is, they know you saw them for who they really were, and that terrifies them. Third, they constantly compare you to their current sources of narcissistic supply. One of the most insidious things about narcissists is their inability to form real, lasting connections. Instead, they cycle through relationships like disposable tools. But during those cycles, they often compare new partners or friends to past ones, including you. Did you give them more attention? Were you easier to manipulate? Did you challenge them more? These comparisons fuel their insecurity and reinforce their belief that no one will ever be good enough for them, except maybe you, ironically. Fourth, they replay every argument, every fight, every confrontation, because they can't accept defeat. Narcissists cannot tolerate being wrong. Even if you walked away years ago, they still mentally refight the battles you had. They rewrite history in their heads, convincing themselves that you were the problem, that you misunderstood them, that you ruined everything. It's a twisted form of emotional combat, where they always win because in their minds, you never actually left. You're just another opponent they haven't finished defeating. And fifth, they fantasize about getting revenge or making a comeback. Some narcissists will wait years before attempting to re-enter your life, whether it's through social media stalking, mutual acquaintances, or a carefully orchestrated chance encounter. They look for opportunities to remind you that they still exist. They want to prove that they're better off without you, that they've moved on even if they haven't, and that you were replaceable. It's not about love or reconciliation, it's about winning. It's about proving that they still matter to you, whether you admit it or not. So if you've ever wondered whether a narcissist still thinks about you, wonder no more. The answer is yes, but not in the way you might hope. But here's the thing, knowing this shouldn't scare you. It should empower you. Because once you understand that narcissists carry these lingering thoughts, you begin to see the pattern for what it is, a reflection of their dysfunction, not yours. Their inability to move on doesn't mean you were special. It means they're trapped in a cycle of manipulation, control, and self-deception. And the more you understand that, the less power they have over you. One of the most important steps in healing from narcissistic abuse is recognizing that their obsession with you is not a compliment. It's not proof that they loved you or missed you. It's proof that they couldn't handle losing control. And that's not something to take personally. It's something to acknowledge, process, and ultimately release. Think about it. Would you want someone who only remembers you because they couldn't dominate you? Would you want to be the object of someone's obsessive, vengeful thoughts? Probably not. And that's okay, because you deserve to be remembered for the right reasons, with love, respect, and genuine connection. The next time you catch yourself wondering if they still think about you, remind yourself that the answer doesn't change your value. You are not defined by their inability to let go. You are not responsible for their mental gymnastics or their emotional chaos. You are free, and that freedom is worth everything. Another key point to consider is that narcissists rarely change. No matter how much time passes, no matter how many people they hurt or how many lives they ruin, they rarely seek real growth or accountability. Their worldview remains centered around their own needs, their own image, and their own fragile ego. And that's why, even now, they continue to ruminate on the people who challenged them, including you. This lack of change is both frustrating and illuminating. It's frustrating because it means they'll never apologize, never admit fault, and never truly understand the damage they caused. But it's illuminating because it shows you just how little their opinion of you matters. If they can't grow, can't reflect, can't evolve, then what they think of you is irrelevant. It's noise, static, a broken record playing the same tired song over and over again. And yet, many survivors struggle with this idea. They hold on to the hope that one day, the narcissist will see the light, will finally recognize the pain they caused, and will offer some form of closure. But here's the hard truth. That day almost never comes. Narcissists don't wake up one morning and decide to change, unless forced by external consequences, legal, financial, or social. And even then, their change is often superficial, a performance meant to regain favor or avoid punishment. So instead of waiting for validation from someone who will never give it, focus on giving yourself the closure you deserve. Write your own ending, create your own peace, build your own future, one that doesn't revolve around their thoughts or their actions. Because you are not bound to their timeline. You are not required to stay stuck in their world just because they refuse to leave yours. Now let's talk about something that many survivors overlook, the danger of staying emotionally connected to a narcissist, even from afar. It's easy to fall into the trap of checking their social media, wondering what they're doing, or feeling a twinge of emotion when you hear their name. But every time you do that, you give them a piece of your energy that could be used for healing, growth, and moving forward. Narcissists thrive on attention, even negative attention. And if they sense that you're still watching, still reacting, still thinking about them, they'll find ways to pull you back in, whether through subtle provocations, manipulative messages, or even triangulation through mutual contacts. That's why going no contact is so crucial, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. It's not just about cutting off communication, it's about removing them from your inner dialogue. It's about refusing to let their memory dictate your emotions or your choices. It's about building a life where they are nothing more than a footnote in your story, not the main character. And yes, it's hard, especially in the beginning. Let's be honest, detoxing from a narcissist is like detoxing from a powerful drug. There are cravings, withdrawals, and moments of weakness. But every time you resist the urge to check in on them, every time you choose to focus on your own healing instead of their antics, you weaken their hold on you. You reclaim your power. You remind yourself that you are stronger than their manipulation, smarter than their games, and wiser than their lies. So, if you're serious about breaking free, start by deleting their number, unfollowing them on social media, and reframing your thoughts whenever they pop into your head. Replace the old narrative with a new one. I am free. I am whole. I am not defined by what they think of me. Because the truth is, the only person whose opinion of you truly matters is you. Of course, none of this is to say that healing is easy. On the contrary, recovering from narcissistic abuse is one of the most challenging emotional journeys a person can go through. It's not just about letting go of the relationship. It's about rebuilding your trust in yourself, in others, and in the world around you. Many survivors struggle with self-doubt, anxiety, depression, and even PTSD-like symptoms after leaving a narcissistic relationship. That's because narcissists are master manipulators who use tactics like gaslighting, projection, blame shifting, and intermittent reinforcement to keep their victims confused and dependent. Over time, these tactics erode a person's sense of reality, making them question their own perceptions, memories, and decisions. That's why recovery requires more than just physical separation. It requires psychological reprogramming. It requires learning to trust yourself again. It requires recognizing that you were not the problem. It requires understanding that you were dealing with someone who lacked empathy, integrity, and emotional maturity. And perhaps most importantly, it requires compassion for yourself. So if you're still healing, give yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling. Give yourself permission to grieve, to rage, to cry, to laugh, to move forward at your own pace. Healing is not linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and deeply personal. But every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. And remember, you are not alone. Millions of people have walked this path before you, and millions more will follow. You are part of a community of survivors who understand what you've been through, who validate your pain, and who celebrate your strength. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are a warrior who has faced darkness and lived to tell the tale. And that makes you incredibly powerful. Now, let's address a question that many survivors ask. If narcissists still think about me, does that mean I was important to them? The short answer is no. Not in the way you're hoping. Narcissists don't assign importance based on love or loyalty. They assign it based on utility, ego, and control. If you were important to them, it was because you served a purpose: attention, validation, sex, money, or influence. And once you stopped serving that purpose, or worse, once you started resisting, it was game over. But here's the twist. The fact that they still think about you is actually a sign of your strength, not theirs. It means you weren't just another pawn in their game. It means you disrupted their illusion of control. It means you showed them that you couldn't be molded, manipulated, or erased, and that sticks with them because it threatens their entire identity. So, if you ever find yourself wondering whether you mattered to them, flip the script. Ask yourself, do I want to matter to someone who treats people like objects? Do I want to be remembered by someone who lacks empathy and integrity? Do I want my legacy to be tied to someone who thrives on chaos and control? The answer, I hope, is no. Because you deserve to be remembered by people who uplift you, support you, and cherish you, not by someone who tried to break you down. Finally, let's talk about what comes next. Once you've processed the truth that narcissists still think about you, but not in a healthy way, you can begin to shift your focus toward your own future. Recovery isn't just about surviving the past. It's about creating a life that reflects your values, your dreams, and your resilience. Surround yourself with people who see you, who appreciate you, and who encourage you to grow. Set goals that excite you. Rediscover parts of yourself that may have been buried under years of manipulation and emotional abuse. Travel, learn, laugh, love again on your terms. Most importantly, don't let the shadow of a narcissist continue to loom over your life. They may still think about you, but that doesn't mean you have to think about them. You have the power to choose where your energy goes, and every time you choose yourself over them, you strengthen your healing and reclaim your autonomy. In the end, the best revenge is living well, living freely, living unapologetically, because when you shine brighter than their darkness, you render them powerless. And that's the ultimate victory. Thank you for watching this video. If you found value in these videos, please consider sharing them with others who might benefit from understanding the mind of a narcissist. Your voice matters, your experience matters, and your healing journey matters. Remember, you are not alone. You are not crazy, and you are not to blame. You are strong, you are wise, and you are worthy of a life filled with love, peace, and authenticity. Keep going, keep growing, keep shining, because the world needs your light.